Hey guys, I want to talk today, now, about Bernie Sanders. I wanted to get this done because we have another primary vote tomorrow. It's going to be in Nevada. Right now, it's looking like Bernie's the front runner. He doesn't have the most electoral votes, but he has the most popular vote right now. Pete Buttigieg is in the lead with 22. Bernie has 21. But he's been doing really well at the popular votes. He's considered the front runner for some reason, even though he doesn't have the most. I think he might be polling well too. Well, Joe Biden's still polling in first, even though he's finishing last in these races. So it's kind of interesting. So I wanted to talk about Bernie Sanders because a bunch of stuff keeps coming out in the news about him and his supporters, and it came up in the last debates, so I thought it'd be interesting to run through all the different things that have been happening to discuss my thoughts on the debates. So the first thing is one of his supporters drove a van into a Republican voting tent just recently. It happened this month. It might have been last week, I think. He didn't hurt anybody. Nobody was injured. They were all able to get out of the way in time, but he was charged. It was incredibly dangerous. He said, when asked about it, that somebody had to take a stand. Another supporter vandalized a Republican headquarters in California, and that just happened last week as well. One supporter shot a man. Another supporter slapped a 15-year-old because he was wearing a MAGA hat. If you don't know, MAGA is Make America Great Again, so it's a Trump hat. Supporters of his broke into a fistfight at his rally. That happened this week. Girl animal activists, there was 3 of them, jumped up on stage, and that happened just this week as well. One of them took the mic away from Bernie, which I don't understand where his security was to let something like this happen. Nothing like this has ever happened at a Trump rally. But this is the second time supporters of his, not protesters, supporters, jumped up on stage and interrupted him talking. One was a Black Lives Matter, and then this one was an animal rights activist. Took the mic from Bernie and said, "We love you, you're great, but we need to stop abusing animals." 2 of her friends ran up on stage topless and poured colored liquid on themselves and screamed a lot until security was able to take them down. One of his white supporters at one of his rallies attacked one of the black supporters because he was wearing a Black Guns Matter shirt. He was a Bernie supporter, but he was wearing Black Guns Matter, which is more of a right side issue and platform, but he had taken a gun class and got given the shirt. He's a liberal, but he was wearing the wrong shirt, so he got physically attacked for that. And both were just left. Like the guy who attacked the white guy who attacked the black guy was just left in the rally. Nothing happened to him. Not a Bernie supporter, but a Bernie staffer. He works in one of the state's headquarters where they, do polling, and they run around and talk to people and do phone calls and flyers and stuff like that. He got caught saying to Veritas, one of the left-wing media outlets, saying that he was all in favor for putting conservatives in re-education camps, and that, they're all talking that the movement's coming and we're gonna, fix this. Bernie never came out and disowned that statement or said that that's extremist. Nothing happened about that. Everybody just ignored it, and they shut down those staffers' social media accounts. Another staffer in a different state said that they're going to once they get into power, they're going to take all the land ownership away from all landowners, and they don't think they need to be violent about it and kill the landowners. They're hoping they can do it peacefully and then redistribute all the land to everybody. So that's something. Bernie had a heart attack just a few months ago. Nobody's talking about that. AOC has endorsed him, and he's taken her endorsement. She's the writer of the Green New Deal, which If you don't know about that, you should look into it. And then now they're having problems within the party between the two of them because when he was away doing Senate work or whatever, she was saying extreme things about how, I think it was about health insurance and yeah, I don't know, the movement, and everyone's like, well, you probably shouldn't be saying that. And then, yeah, so they're all kind of infighting as well. His plan is to take away all private health care. His supporters also attacked union members on one of these early voting primary states because they didn't want to support Bernie because they didn't want to lose the health care that they'd been working so hard for, that they had negotiated for and gotten this really great health care. And they were like, we don't want to support Bernie because he would take away our health care. So in this most recent debate, Pete Buttigieg called out Bernie for having he called it mean supporters. And then Bernie said that was because of Russian bots and said that nobody should be mean from any of the things, but he didn't really think his supporters were particularly mean. I thought that was a good question to ask. Ben Shapiro was saying that was such a weak question. He should be asking about more policy stuff. I think in light of all these things that have happened, saying, Antifa supports you, your supporters are increasingly violent, what do you say to that? Is a good question to bring up because it is a very violent, aggressive movement online and in person, which is more a thing, I think, than just sending mean tweets to somebody. I think having Bernie address that in the debates is a good move. So I disagree with Ben on that one. But I thought Pete did it in a very weak way, being like, what? Like, your supporters are mean. Then it's like, oh no, okay, sorry. I don't know, like, what are you supposed to say to that? I think saying it's Russian bots is kind of... I thought that was kind of funny. But, yeah, I think if you're going to approach that question, you should hit a little bit harder and talk about some of these instances and things that are happening that are completely out of line. You don't see Pete Buttigieg's supporters driving vans into groups of people and acting like terrorists. And you don't see Joe Biden having anybody so passionate they're shooting people or anything like that. So I think it is something to talk about. Antifa's super violent. They're out using bats and wet cement. They break windows if they don't support things. Another thing that came up in the debates about Bernie Sanders is that he is a millionaire. He used to say the millionaires and billionaires are, the ones taking everything and they need to pay more. But now he just says the billionaires because he is personally a millionaire himself now. He also owns 3 houses, which is something that got brought up in the debates. And Ben Shapiro said it's about time that they brought it up in the debates since the conservatives have been bringing it up for years now. And nobody talks about it within the Democrat Party. But it will for sure come up if he ever faces Trump, which kind of looks like he might be. It's looking like he has the most support right now, but the party's so divided, it's hard to tell. A lot of other people are saying that the more moderate Democrats, I shouldn't say conservative, but the moderate Democrats are split right now between multiple candidates, meaning Pete, who is winning with the delegate votes, but not the popular vote. Then there's also Amy, and then there's also Joe. And if you combine all of the votes that they've been getting in these very early states, he would be beating Bernie. So we'll have to see as more of these people drop out, because right now the field is so big. This is some of the biggest fields we've seen in a very long time on how many candidates there are. So many. Yeah, so that's all I got to say about that. I wanted to get this done and out there before tomorrow. And we're waiting on Super Tuesday. We'll really know who's in the lead and what's going to happen on that. That's going to be on March 3rd. That's when my state's voting as well, California. If you're in California, remember to get your votes in by then. Or on that day, whichever way, if you're mailing it in or you're going in to vote. All right, see ya.